Welcome to a video that has the power to completely transform your life. Before we dive into these incredible secrets, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now so you never miss out on content designed to make you smarter, stronger, and more fluent. If you have ever instantly forgotten a name right after an introduction, if you have spent hours studying only to have your mind go blank during an exam, or if you frequently walk into a room and completely forget why you are there, then pay close attention. If your mind feels bogged down by endless information and you struggle to retain what is truly important, this video was made specifically for you. You are about to discover a comprehensive, step-by-step system to unlock your brain's potential, massively upgrade your retention, and allow you to remember anything you desire permanently. This is not just a quick list of generic memory hacks. It is a profound, effective framework that will entirely reshape how your brain processes information, starting right now. And there is an added bonus. This content is excellent for improving your English. As you listen, you will naturally absorb clear, impactful English phrasing, enhance your listening comprehension, and expand your vocabulary. Whether your goal is to ace your exams, recall every book you read, speak English more fluently, or simply train your brain to operate like a genius, stay with me until the very end. If you commit to these steps, you will finally experience the incredible feeling of trusting your own mind again. Let us begin. Step 1. Grasp the mechanics of memory. Before you can master your memory, you must understand why things slip away. Many people mistakenly believe they just have a bad memory. They tell themselves they aren't smart enough, or that their brain is flawed. The reality is quite different. You do not have a weak memory. You simply have an untrained one. Think of your brain as a massive library. Every time you encounter a new fact, name, or date, it is like acquiring a new book. But if you just toss that book onto a random shelf without categorizing it or ever checking it out again, it gets lost. This is exactly what happens with your short-term versus long-term memory. Short-term memory is like a whiteboard. You write on it, but if you don't intentionally save the information, it gets erased. Long-term memory, however, is a permanent vault. Most people leave information on the whiteboard. They hear a name but never repeat it. They cram for a test but never revisit the notes. Imagine meeting someone named Jason at a gathering. You shake hands, chat, and walk away. Minutes later, his name is gone. Why? Because you never actively processed it. Now, imagine meeting Jason and immediately associating him with someone famous, like Jason Momoa. You smile, repeat his name aloud. Great to meet you, Jason, and use it again later in the conversation. By focusing, connecting, and repeating, you have built a strong neural pathway. Memory is a learned skill, not a genetic gift. Your system was broken, not your brain. Let's build a new system together. Step 2. Master the art of attention. Here is the brutal reality. Your issue is not memory, it is attention. You cannot recall what you never truly noticed in the first place. Every single day, your brain is bombarded with millions of sensory inputs, sounds, screens, voices, text messages, colors. If your brain tried to store all of it, it would short-circuit. So, it heavily filters this data based on one metric, your attention. If you focus, the brain keeps it. If you don't, it is instantly discarded. Imagine stepping out of a cab after a long day. You are exhausted, scrolling on your phone and thinking about what to eat. You pay and leave, accidentally leaving your backpack inside. Minutes later, panic sets in. You try to recall the taxi's license plate, but your mind is entirely blank. Why? Because you merely looked at the car. You didn't truly see it. You heard the driver, but you didn't listen. If you had paused for just one deliberate second to look at the plate and mentally note, white sedan, plate 5924. That single second of active attention would have saved your belongings. When you sit in a lecture or watch a tutorial, but your mind is wandering to a song or a text message, you are physically present but mentally absent. The modern world is engineered to steal your focus through notifications and endless scrolling, but you cannot save a file you never clicked open. From now on, whenever something is important, give it 5 seconds of pure, undivided attention. That brief pause is the doorway to lifelong retention. Step 3. Translate words into vivid pictures. Now that your attention is engaged, you need to speak your brain's native language, imagery. Your brain does not think in text, it thinks in pictures. If I say the word tiger, you do not visualize the letters Tiger. You instantly see a large striped cat moving through the jungle. Words on their own are abstract and boring. Images, however, are vibrant, emotional, and memorable. If you meet a woman named Rose, do not just memorize the word. Picture her holding a giant, glowing red rose, or imagine her hair made entirely of rose petals. Suddenly, her name becomes a fascinating visual concept that your brain wants to keep. The more absurd, exaggerated, or hilarious the image, the better it sticks. Trying to memorize a grocery list? Milk, eggs, a novel, sneakers, and a dog. Don't just repeat the words. Picture a massive, walking carton of milk, wearing your favorite sneakers, reading a thick novel, while raining eggs bounce off a highly confused dog. You are practically laughing at the mental movie. Memory champions use this exact technique to memorize hundreds of words in minutes. Stop reading plain text. Start directing mental movies. Step 4. Leverage the narrative technique. Your brain is hardwired to love stories. It craves drama, characters, and progression. It heavily dislikes isolated, boring lists. If I give you a random list to memorize bicycle, banana, clock, umbrella, ocean, guitar, you might recall a few items for a few minutes before they vanish. This is because the items lack connection, but if we string them into a bizarre narrative, everything changes. Imagine riding a bicycle made entirely of yellow bananas. Suddenly, a giant clock falls from the sky, forcing you to open a massive umbrella. The umbrella catches a gust of wind, carrying you out over a purple ocean, where a mermaid is furiously playing an electric guitar. If you close your eyes and replay that ridiculous sequence, you will remember every single item in perfect order. Stories provide movement, emotion, and visual linkage. This is why we effortlessly remember the plots of our favorite films for decades, but forget yesterday's news headlines. Whether you are learning a new language or preparing for a presentation, turn your bullet points into a story. Give yourself permission to be wonderfully weird. Step 5. Embrace spaced repetition. Cramming is the illusion of learning. Reviewing a concept once does not secure it in your mind. Your brain requires time, space, and repeated exposure to solidify knowledge. Think of learning like tracing a word into the sand at the beach. It looks clear initially, but the wind and waves quickly wash it away. This phenomenon is known as the forgetting curve. To combat this, you must use spaced repetition. Learn a new concept. Review it an hour later. Look at it again the next day. Then review it after 3 days, then a week, then 2 weeks. Each time you retrieve that information, your brain registers it as crucial survival data, engraving it deeper and deeper. It transforms writing in the sand into carving in solid rock. If you learn the English word ubiquitous, meaning found everywhere, and you never use it, it will be gone by Friday. But if you write a sentence with it today, use it in a conversation tomorrow, and spot it in an article next week, that word becomes a permanent part of your vocabulary. You don't need fancy apps to do this. A simple calendar and a notebook will work perfectly. Without review, there is no memory. Step 6. Forge emotional connections. The depth of a memory is directly tied to the strength of the emotion associated with it. Do you remember what you had for lunch 10 days ago? Unlikely. Do you remember the exact moment you received the best news of your life? Or a moment you felt intensely embarrassed? Absolutely. Emotion signals the amygdala in your brain, stamping the experience with a label that says, "Do not delete." To remember effectively, inject feeling into your learning. If you are studying the sinking of the Titanic in 1912, do not just memorize the numbers. Empathize with the sheer panic, the heroism of the musicians who kept playing, and the heartbreak of families parting ways. Transform cold data into a deeply human tragedy. Even if the subject is dry, fabricate an emotion. If you must memorize a complex legal definition, imagine a scenario where knowing that exact definition saves an innocent person from going to jail. Feel the relief and the triumph. Your brain does not care if the emotion is simulated. It only cares that the emotion exists. What feels alive in your mind will never die. Step 7. Teach to retain. One of the greatest, most underutilized secrets to flawless memory is teaching. If you want to lock something in your brain forever, teach it to someone else immediately. When you explain a concept, you shift from being a passive consumer to an active creator. Teaching forces you to recall the information, organize it logically, and translate it into your own authentic voice. Let's say you just learned the word procrastinate. If you just nod and close the dictionary, it will fade. But if you turn to a friend and say, "I just learned the perfect word for what I do when I avoid my chores. It's called procrastinating," you have instantly built an indestructible memory. You do not need a formal audience. Explain it to your reflection in the mirror, record a quick audio note on your phone, or draft a post on social media. The act of outputting information proves to your brain that you own it. Teaching is not what happens after you learn. It is the ultimate proof that you have learned. Step 8. Construct a memory palace. Ancient philosophers and modern memory athletes share a secret weapon: spatial memory. Your brain is incredibly adept at navigating locations. You likely still remember the exact layout of your childhood home, where the windows were, the color of the tiles, the specific creak of the floorboards. The memory palace technique involves anchoring abstract information to these deeply familiar physical spaces. Imagine mapping the planets of our solar system to your current home. You walk through the front door, Mercury. Imagine a thermometer shattering on the welcome mat. You enter the living room, Venus, a beautiful statue sitting on your sofa. You go to the kitchen sink, earth water splashing everywhere. You open the fridge, Mars red dust blowing out. By mentally walking through your own house, you effortlessly retrieve the list in perfect order. You are providing your brain with a structured, visual, and spatial blueprint. Use this for speeches, daily to-do lists, or exam topics. Your mind will shift from a chaotic junk drawer into an organized, heavily guarded temple of knowledge. Step 9. The pre-sleep review. What you choose to focus on in the last 10 minutes before you fall asleep has a disproportionate impact on your permanent memory. While you sleep, your brain acts like a diligent librarian. It reviews the events of the day and decides what to archive and what to shred. If you spend your final waking moments mindlessly scrolling through brief, chaotic social media videos, your brain flags that digital noise as the priority. Meanwhile, the valuable skills you studied earlier in the afternoon get swept into the mental trash. Change this habit tonight. 5 minutes before your head hits the pillow, put away all screens, open your notebook, and peacefully review the most important concepts or vocabulary you learned that day. Visualize them. Speak them softly. Send a crystal clear signal to your brain that this information matters. you will wake up with those concepts neatly folded into your long-term memory. Step 10. The magic of pen and paper. In a world obsessed with typing and digital notes, writing things down by hand is an absolute superpower. Handwriting is your brain's save button. When you type, your fingers operate on autopilot. When you write physically, you are forced to slow down. You feel the drag of the pen, you trace the curves of the letters, and you physically engage your nervous system. This physical act creates robust, multisensory memory pathways. If you encounter a brilliant quote or a crucial new English phrase, do not just highlight it on a screen. Grab a notebook and write it out. Add a personal note beside it. That 60-second physical effort transitions the idea from a fleeting thought into a permanent fixture in your mind. Build the habit of keeping a dedicated learning journal. One page of handwritten notes is vastly superior to hours of passive video watching. Step 11. Embrace active recall. Rereading your notes is a comfortable trap. You look at a highlighted page and think, "I know this." But recognizing information is not the same as remembering it. To forge an unshakable memory, you must practice active recall. Close the book, pause the video, look away from the screen and ask yourself, what did I just learn? Can I explain it without looking at the answer? At first, you might stumble. You might only remember fragments. That mental friction is exactly what you want. That struggle is the literal sensation of your brain building new neural muscle. It is the mental equivalent of lifting a heavy weight. Rereading is just watching someone else lift the weight. Use flashcards, quiz yourself, or try to summarize an entire chapter on a blank piece of paper from memory alone. It requires effort, but it guarantees lifelong retention. Step 12. Guard against cognitive overload. We arrive at the final, most critical step, protecting your mental real estate. A cluttered, exhausted brain cannot remember anything of value. You do not forget things because you are inadequate. You forget because your mind is overflowing with absolute junk. If you wake up and immediately consume hundreds of random opinions, news alerts, and viral clips before breakfast, your attention span is depleted before the day has even truly begun. Your brain is like a cup of water. If you keep pouring endless streams of meaningless data into it, it overflows, and the truly important things spill out and are lost. You walk into a grocery store to buy 5 basic items, but because you spent the car ride checking 50 notifications, your brain drops the grocery list to make room for the digital noise. You must protect your mind fiercely. Start your mornings with deliberate silence, not scrolling. Unfollow accounts that do not serve your growth. Practice digital fasting by turning your phone completely off for 1 hour every single day. Memory is not merely about accumulating data. It is about aggressively making space for what truly matters. Be ruthless about the content you allow into your head. You only have one brain. Do not let it become a dumping ground for the world's distractions. You now possess the ultimate 12-step system to remember anything for the rest of your life. These are not superficial tricks. These are profound, scientifically backed strategies that will accelerate your learning, dramatically improve your English fluency, and return control of your mind back to you. But remember, knowledge without execution is entirely useless. You must practice these principles. Write things down by hand. Teach what you learn to others. Guard your mind against digital clutter. Review your goals before you sleep. If you do these things, you will evolve into a person whose memory is sharp, reliable, and extraordinary. This journey is about awakening the true brilliance of your mind. By applying these steps, you are not just improving your memory. You are expanding your English comprehension, refining your focus, and upgrading your entire life. Thank you for watching, and remember to subscribe to the channel right now if you want to continually elevate your mind, your vocabulary, and your life. We are building a community dedicated to becoming the sharpest, most fluent, and most unstoppable versions of ourselves. Your brain is ready. Let's make your memory truly unforgettable.